All right, and we are live on a Sunday night with one of my favorite gents in the cigar industry. This is so exciting, Sean. We did this last year, and you guys have come back with number two, the
Yes.
2022 Cohiba or Weller by Cohiba. I already got my Weller out. I got the cigar. Good evening, Sean. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
You got the full. You have the full proof there. I see.
Yeah. So, and as you know, the foolproof expression is not actually involved in the making of this particular cigar.
Right.
But I couldn't get my hand on a 12-year. That's we make a cigar for them, but that's how scarce these bottles just continue to be, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, I understand. Hey, next time I'll try to drive down and bring you some. I have a little bit left. This was
you need to save the corner of that 10-year-old bottle there, man. That's special. Yeah.
This is I think at least 10 years old. This is a vintage, I guess somewhat vintage WL Weller that I bought several bottles back when I could find them a little bit easier. This is the 1 liter, so this has been lasting me a little while. Okay, nice. So last year it was so cool. About the same time of year, it was September, Bourbon Heritage Month. Mm-hmm. You all released the first Weller by Cohiba to pair with Cohiba. You did an amazing job. This one actually, some of the tobacco in here, the binder has been aged in used Weller barrels, right?
The binder, the Connecticut broadleaf, yes, was aged in the Weller 12-year barrels. So, which is really cool. And I got to go down in February and actually kind of massage the process a little bit. We weren't sure which component we were going to use,
right?
As far as what was aged in it. So we just had every piece, every tobacco from the blend, aged barrels, just to kind of see what gave us more of the expression we wanted. And I wanted it to be something that really gave it a lot of the richness, but that didn't come off as heavy as something that would be infused of flavor. So that's a good balance.
So you had every element of the tobacco aging in the barrels. What was that process like?
We had different barrels that had the wrapper, the binder, and all of the different fillers just to see. And then we would take them out, put them together, and just kind of do different combinations to see what gave us the balance that we wanted. And it turns out that the binder was maybe the best balance.
The binder was the best balance. So you experimented, obviously, as you always do with these. You experimented an awful lot on this to really see just what made the very best cigar. And you came up with the binder. Now, as you went about the process, tell us about the tobaccos. What was the process like?
So the wrapper is Sumatra, Ecuadorian Sumatra. Binder, as we talked about, is Connecticut broadleaf, aged in the Weller 12-year barrels. Filler is very interesting. We have as I drop my cigar, whoa. We have a hefty amount of Honduran tobacco, which is not very typical for Cohiba blends. I mean, we have some cigars, of course, where we use Honduran, but here we have 3 different representations of the best of our Honduran tobacco. Of course, we have the classic Hammerstrom Valley Honduran tobacco. We have tobaccos, which is some of the rare tobaccos, which we haven't grown this tobacco in years, and we reintroduced it for the Spectre 2018. It's called La Entrada de Copeo, which is a tobacco that we don't grow anymore in Honduras, but we still have reserves. So we use some of that in here, along with the Lancha San Agustin, which is our farms that we grow near the Guatemalan border, and rounded out with a little Nicaraguan tobacco just to give it a little bit more pop. But we kind of went the way with Honduran tobacco because we wanted to get the body, we wanted earthiness, but we didn't want too much spice to sort of overpower with the expression of the Weller would do. So just sort of a different take on or a different approach to this blend.
This is beautiful, and again, that Honduran tobacco is bringing that earth, not over spice, but that earth to this. As I'm tasting this Weller again. I see a lot of you just joining us. If you take a moment, like this video, share it. This is a cigar which will only be here for a little while. I am pairing it with the WL Weller 12 that I believe I got about 10, maybe even 11 years ago. I have some of that in the glass, and just tasting this wonderful
Awesome.
Brand new. This just shipped on Friday, from what I understand.
It actually hasn't shipped yet. No. I mean, officially shipping this coming week.
Oh, this coming week it's shipping. Okay, it's just.
This is certainly the first media engagement that I've done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. This is the first time you're.
It only makes sense, man. I mean, Tom and Bourbon Blog. I mean, where else would we sit down first for this cigar?
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it, John. It's an honor to always try these with you first. It is delicious. So this will be, as people are watching this and they're thinking this is something I have to get to pair with some great bourbon. This will be the next few weeks in the stores.
Yeah, it'll start hitting shelves this week, and and we don't expect it to last long, and we didn't make a bunch of them. We're talking 6,000 plus boxes, so under 70,000 cigars. So it's not something that you're going to see out there in the wild for very long. And if the response that we got from last year's Weller is any indication, these are going to go fast.
Yeah, that last year just went so fast. People loved it, and I still hear people that were the lucky few that got this thing. It's one of their favorite limited editions they'd ever had. I mean, it was just perfect. This one as well. You're welcome. This one is a completely different expression. I mean,
completely different expression. Last year we just based on timing, and honestly, I don't remember what the impetus was behind it, but we needed to get that cigar at a certain time. So we just didn't have time to really get the barrels in and go through the aging process and tinker with it like we did with this release. So last year we had to sort of back into it and just kind of go off of some of the things that are sort of intuitive as it relates to pairing a cigar with the wheated bourbon like Weller, and sitting down talking with Harlan Wheatley, the master distiller, to try to get some idea of the direction to go. So it was a different process altogether. So this year I wanted to do something that had a little bit more weight, a little bit more body, but also really just wanted to authentically capture the essence of the Weller bourbon. And we were able to do that because we had the time allotted to us to get the barrels in and work with the tobaccos.
Well, I love the fact that last year you said, hey, we're going to be aging the tobacco in used bourbon barrels. We know we're doing that, but we want to start out with a release that will complement with Weller bourbon, or for some reason, we love the Weller. If you can't find it, you grab a good bourbon, you try that cigar. It was a beautiful compliment. They helped to elevate the flavor. I like that you went that route this year. Again, you experimented. You tried every element of the cigar when you try new blends. What's that? I mean, I know we've talked before about this, but as you're creating that new blend, what's that process like? I mean, you go through a number of different ways of doing this before you say this is the right blend, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't want to, when I talk about, I don't want to fool them into thinking it's some type of special spiritual gift, and it's you have some basic understanding of what different tobaccos offer, right? And intuitively what they should do, blended together, but to really nail it down, you just it's a lot of trial and error, right? Because even with that, there's different degrees of the tobacco that you want to use, and different, so a lot of it is trial and error. But again, going into this one, we knew that we didn't want to overpower the expression of the Weller, so that kind of takes a few things off the table as far as tobacco. But then it was just really finding out which element of the cigar was going to respond best to the barrel aging and offer us the complement we wanted. But a lot of it is just, and that's the fun part actually, just kind of, let's try this, see what happens. Let's try this. Okay, well, less of this, and you kind of go through that process, which is great, So if you got time, man, that's the beauty of it. Sort of like making a song, you may not get it together, you put it in the vault, and you come back and you tinker with it a little bit later, and time is our greatest asset, but also our greatest nemesis.
Yes, no, it truly is, and this some real good time has been put in this. Again, we'll show everybody this has the W, the Weller, just so beautiful. When you bring that to a party and you have friends who I'm sure enjoy bourbon, when you all get some of these yourself as you're watching, people are going to love that. They're going to see that label. They're going to taste the cigar. It's just I'm still getting these notes on this first half of the cigar.
Yeah, I was really
good spices on this.
There's very few people very few people obviously that know bourbon and really understand the nuances like you do. So I was excited to do this because again, we didn't have this opportunity last year. So to actually have one of the components aged in the barrels, I was like, I'm looking forward to sitting with Tom on this.
Yeah, thank you. Now, and I'm getting, so as I'm getting more into the cigar, I'm getting this wonderful creaminess and sweetness, just a touch of that, especially sort of on that we talk about, in bourbon, the nose, the taste, the finish. As I exhale, as I'm really getting that retrohale, that exhale, I'm really seeing that creaminess, that sweetness is there. It's delicate. I'd say it's nuanced.
Absolutely, and by design. I mean, it is a difficult balance, and honestly, I was sort of, there was a little trepidation because it's so different from last year's blend, but I really wanted the true bourbon enthusiasts to really appreciate this cigar, and especially if you're a fan of Weller. I mean, I wanted this cigar to really resonate with you, and if you're not, then maybe it's something that sort of opens your palate to sort of different profiles,
Well, these, and what this is the other thing I love about collaborations between just two top-notch brands, creators, makers like Buffalo Trace, Weller, and also Cohiba, and just bringing those brains, those talented people together, and those wonderful flavors. Because maybe you haven't had the Cohiba, you've had the Weller, vice versa. Now you see what the direction they're going. It has some wonderful. I mean, even if I was doing this without a whiskey in hand, I mean, the nuances in this, the layers, just getting a touch of that barrel in the binder, it really does talk and speak bourbon, but without overwhelming the palate.
I got to tell you, I mean, the vast majority of these I've had without bourbon. I mean, I smoke multiple cigars a day, so obviously I don't have bourbon with it. The vast majority of cigars I smoke, I don't have bourbon with it. But this is one of the few times that I've enjoyed this cigar with something out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery, in particular, this Weller expression. And I got to tell you, even for me, this is a different experience.
It is.
I'm not bullshitting. This is I'm really digging this. Now, the only thing is, I'm going to have to go back to my routine because I will not be able to smoke these cigars only with a Weller bourbon, right?
Right. I know it's good that we both brought out some Weller to really, you look for those flavors from the whiskey. You look for them here. You see the complement, the way they're elevating the flavors. Well, as you taste the Weller, you have the full proof there. As you have a sip of that, what do you get against the cigar? What notes do you pick up in the cigar?
This cigar has has more body noticeably than last year's, but when I have just a hint of the Weller on my palate, it sort of it sort of tames the body a little bit, and the essence really good. It marries very, very well. I get more of the sweetness, more of the creaminess that you're talking about, and that really only comes through as I'm drinking this cigar, bourbon with this cigar.
Absolutely,
having something, the coffee or tea or something like that. The creaminess doesn't come through as much, and I think because it's maybe typically what I'm from the South. I drink sweet tea a lot with cigars.
Right.
As pedestrian as that sounds, right? But that sweetness doesn't allow this cigar really to shine. So when you pair it with something that's more complementary, as far as a similar mash bill that makes up the barrels for the cigar, it really resonates. It does truly.
Yes. Yeah. And hey, to our friends watching all over YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, ask Sean some questions if you'd like, not only about this cigar, about cigar pairings, or myself. Happy to answer. I see Bourbon Lens is watching there on Facebook. Thank you. He says, sign me up there. Bourbon Lens, thank you. A lot of people I know are going to want to try this, but ask questions, and we'll keep on discussing. I know that, okay, this is the 2022, your second edition. It sounds like this is something you're thinking about every year. You have some thoughts for next year?
Yeah. We're already working on next year, and I won't give any hints, but we're already working on next year, and we'll see. We had a solid 3-year commitment for the project.
Right.
The Sazerac Group and Buffalo Trace Distillery have been absolutely wonderful to work with. And I get the sense that they've enjoyed working with us as well. The project has been received very well. So I'm not discouraged about the possibility that we will go past next year.
Sure.
I think that that's more likely than not. But for sure, we're going to do next year's release. We're already working on, putting it together, the components, and I have an idea of where we're going to go with the blend. And also, honestly, I'm thinking of, or we're thinking of maybe sticking with this blend, depending on which expression of Weller we're going to work with next year.
It may be a whole other expression of the barrel itself.
I can tell you, I am 95% sure it won't be 12-year. So now it's just figuring out which direction to go as far as the barrel aging and what's going to respond best, and also quite honestly, what the Weller team and Buffalo Trace want to put out there. They'll have obviously their leanings as to what expression they want to highlight and their reasons behind it. We'll talk through that, and yeah, man. So for me, it doesn't even matter, man. I mean, I love the 107. I love the foolproof. I doubt we do the OFC, but yeah, I mean, whatever we decide is going to be great. So,
absolutely, and again, so it sounds like there's still some tobacco being aged, or is the tobacco for next year going to start aging in barrel soon?
We have to within the next couple of weeks, literally within the next couple of weeks, we have to decide with the Weller team which expression we want to highlight next year, and then get those barrels basically on a boat and down to the DR. So
what does that look like too? I mean, to take us through that process, when you went last year, you talked with Master Distiller Harlan Wheatley there at Buffalo Trace, looked at some expressions. Those barrels were shipped then. What's that like?
Well, it's I mean, I'm not there when they're loading the barrels onto the truck and whatever, but I mean, it's I mean, I guess it's akin to, that's what, I don't think people really appreciate how seminal bourbon barrels are to the spirits industry worldwide. I mean, used bourbon barrels are shipped over to Scotland to be used for scotch. They're used for rum. They're used for all different kinds of spirits around the world. So again, it wasn't very dissimilar from that, except just a smaller amount. I mean, we only had a couple dozen, so it's not like we were, some Scotch distillery taking in, hundreds and hundreds of barrels. So a lot easier for us to get them over. Yeah, it's just at this point, like I said, just deciding on which expression is going to be. They basically, get them shipped down, and obviously they're sent over. They travel by truck to our facilities, which are on the Virginia coast, and then from there by sea freight down to the DR. So, which I kind of like, a little Jefferson's Ocean action, right? It picks up a little bit of the ambient air and whatever the atmospheric situation is over ocean, man, before they get to the DR. So it's I love that process. Yeah.
Hey, Sean, look, you and I could jump aboard that boat as long as they put a full barrel of bourbon on it, along with the barrels. How about that?
Don't give me ideas. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been on one of those sort of merchant vessels, man. That's probably traveling a little bit rougher than you and I.
That might be a rough ride, but I think the bourbon might help. We could just do it for 1 or 2
bourbon days. And the cigars, man. Right? Yeah,
that's right. I think that's how they used to really rough those seas, and that's maybe how they still do.
Yeah. Probably was more so rum, right? For some reason, when I think of seafarers, I think rum. Ho 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 in a barrel of rum.
That's right. No, this is delicious. Again, if any questions for Sean or myself, or if you tried last year's, or
what are you shipping tonight? Oh, that's you asking.
That's me. Yeah, I'm asking what they're sipping, and then as someone who looks like the same namesake as Weller, Mike Weller says he's looking forward.
He needs to explain. Is there any relation to the storied Weller Spirits dynasty?
He may have a line on these bottles.
What say you, Mike?
Tell us, Mike. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
It's just so good, and it gives me a chance to crack into a bottle that I also don't
That's awesome, man.
Go for that often.
You know, this is on your calendar, and all you have to do is go into your archives and pull out some stuff.
And we're going to go into the archives. I'm going to pour a little more here, actually.
Yeah.
No, the more I'm getting into the cigar, it really is. I mean, I thought last year's, wow, this is last year's was dynamite. This year's is again dynamite, but just a whole different flavor. And what could be fun would be to try both of them. I mean, again, both would work so well next to the Weller or a fine bourbon.
Yeah, dude, we went through them so fast last year.
Yeah,
I didn't have them ship me open stock to sort of hold on to. I literally, I think, have 3 or 4 of the Weller from last year. So
wow, did they sell out like pretty quick?
It was more so than I thought, because bear in mind we released Series M in the spring.
Oh, that's right. Series M came out,
and it wasn't 6 or 8 weeks later that we released the Weller. So I didn't expect that we would get as robust a reception as we did, as far as it moving out so fast. But it was like, man, it was 2 weeks they were gone. It was like, wow. So
it went so quick. Okay, so obviously this one, be watching for this one. Any other? Obviously, we always love all of your releases. We obviously love the limited editions. Would there be any other?
Yeah, we have Spectre, and maybe I'm not going to say maybe the final installment of Spectre.
Okay,
we released this fall.
Oh wow!
Around the holidays. And then next year we'll be releasing a full time. It'll be the first full time that we've done since 2020.
The first full time since 2020.
Yeah. So the last full time we released was the Cohiba Royale. That was during the pandemic.
Oh right. So that was right. Just as the pandemic started, the Royale came out.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a brand new release.
A brand new, and this is when I say full time, is something that's going to be not one and done. It'll be something that'll be regular order. It'll live on the order sheet so that retailers and consumers can request it and access it.
Sure. So a brand new. Any hints about what it might be?
I'm tempted to, but. I can say one thing, and this is something that I've been wanting to do since I came on board. It's gonna be a San Andreas wrapper.
San Andreas wrapper. Wow.
And I won't say any more than that. And we actually have the blend done. We've been working on it since last year, and just actually got to a point where we thought, okay, well, we can green like this. So it's going to be a San Andreas, and I'll give you more detail, and you'll probably have it sooner than most people, for sure.
I can't wait to try it. And again, that'll be beginning of next year.
That'll be spring next year. Yeah.
Spring next year, and before the end of the year, sometime during the fall, we'll
Spectre out. We're into almost October now, so we'll be looking at. Sometime in November, I'm expecting, just in time for holiday.
Just in time for the holidays, and this could be, maybe it's a possibility, this might be the last Spectre underneath the Spectre name. Strong possibility,
yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we got several more coming in the coming months, in the coming 6 months or so, to be watching.
Yeah. If you look at it that way, certainly within the next 6 months, yeah. For
now, this is the one to watch for. Something to have during the fall. We're always, this is National Bourbon Heritage Month. To us, every month is Bourbon Month, but everyone enjoys Bourbon Heritage Month. This is the one to look for to really elevate.
So what does National Bourbon Heritage Month look like in Kentucky, man? Like, is it nonstop events or?
Yes, lots of festivals, lots of events, lots of ways to toast to both the heritage in Kentucky, and also I think the heritage that we're laying down the foundations of the last 10, 15 years with bourbons made everywhere. The new heritage, the story that goes on and on. I've been hosting I was hosting some tastings, as I mentioned, in Dallas this past week, and then we'll have more coming all over the place, probably even internationally before the year's over, just to continue to celebrate bourbon. So this is the one that I'm going to be taking to my Bourbon Heritage Month. The rest of the month of September. I do see. Okay, so Mike's thanks for replying to us. He said there's not any relation. He can only wish, but he did have last year's release as well. So Mike, he was one of the lucky few that got last year's release.
Well, there's some connection in his lineage somewhere. So
that's right.
So here's the Mike.
That's right, Mike. You get another cigar with your name on it, and you can let us know you're somehow a cousin. This is delicious. The more I'm getting into this, again, I'm going towards almost half. This is beautiful. That nuance, that creaminess is there. That earthiness is coming through. That's probably some of that Honduran that's really opening up.
Palestine in particular. That's the earth. The La Entrada and the Alancha is a little creamier. It's giving you a little bit more. That still has the earthiness, but the Hamastron really is the one that's giving it the balance of power and earth that we want. So
that is beautiful. Well, just to know that the journey this took from Kentucky, those emptied barrels, they had some of that bourbon.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right.
Went to DR. It has variety of tobaccos, and then now we have it back here in the South, in the U.S. It just all over the U.S. is so beautiful. Delicious stuff. This is just really a great cigar. And you tried, again, when you were going through the process, you tried the wrapper, the filler.
Yeah, I mean, we tried every single component of the cigar, and I knew honestly going into the process that the wrapper was probably not going to be it, just because it would be so dominant.
Yeah.
But we got the time. Why not try it? And some of the other components. We got some beautiful SLE tobacco, and we talk about the Hamastron, the 3 different Honduran tobaccos, and they all picked up some of the notes, but those were a little bit more subtle than I liked. I wanted it to be something that's more pronounced, especially for someone who had experience with drinking Weller bourbon. I wanted to really resonate with them sort of immediately. So the binder turned out to be the winner. So
yes, and there are some of these aged in used barrels that I think used bourbon barrel aged cigars that I think are beautiful. There's some that I think are overdone. I think this one is just right. I mean, just the right amount. It's so
hey, let's usually the portraits for these. Can't wait. All right, Harry.
Oh yeah, Harry. Okay, someone else who had last year's release too. Look at this.
Yeah,
Harry had last year's. Okay, there's a lot of folks that are some of our big bourbon enthusiast followers. We appreciate that, Harry and John and Mike, everyone else.
Johnny Rivers. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of good people, and they're going to look forward to this one. When that tobacco's in the barrel, do they move the tobacco?
Yes, you have to. That's a good question. Because once you have it in, obviously the tobacco's to the outside of the pile that's closest to the walls. It's going to pick up more of the essence of the tobacco, and then conversely, the tobacco that's in the center of the barrel is going to get a little bit more heat. So you want to constantly rotate them, and it's a tedious process. And I've been admonished not to say exactly how long.
Sure.
We age it. I've said it a few times, and it's like don't tell people exactly. I don't know that it's a big secret, but it takes several months, and thank God, man, for the people at the factories that work with tobacco. I mean, it really is tedious work, man. I mean, it is very, very tedious work. Not even talking about the polones and the years it takes to sort of effectively ferment tobacco, but then from there to go into the barrels, and so that same process just on a more micro level, rotating tobaccos inside the barrel.
Because it needs to see that it doesn't need to see just the edge of it; it has to see every single part of it.
Yes. All the tobacco's in there at some point has to spend its time, up against the oak, soaking up the essence of the bourbon, and then some parts of it needs to spend its time in the middle of the piling, getting a little bit more heat. So it's a tedious process, and again, God bless our people who really love to work with tobacco.
All the hands that are, I mean, it's to really say, just with a cigar.
If you go back to my feed, if you follow me on social media, if you go back into my feed, I'll post a lot, relatively speaking. So
Yeah.
you have to go back to February or so. You'll see I was there and I took videos of the actual.
Wow. Would that be on your
on my
your
Instagram feed and on Facebook? But yeah, any of my
Right.
social media feeds. If you go back, Instagram is probably the easiest. You go back, you'll see. We have just a sort of nice long array of barrels, and at that time when I was there, that's when we decided, okay, let's go with the binder, because we were testing a number of the different components in various barrels.
Yes, and I'm going to put that up there. Your Instagram feed, that way people can go back and also follow Sean and all he does there on Instagram. Sean Williams _ Cohiba on Instagram.
On Insta, that's the
Insta. On Instagram.
Listen, we have to shorten everything. Insta. You're on Insta?
We just want to put it there on Insta. Look at those videos. You said it was February. We can see those videos.
Would have been in February. Yeah.
How did that smell too when you open that barrel up? What did that smell?
Oh, freaking amazing! Like
wow.
Like it's man, it's because you're there and I love the smell of the tobacco in the factories. Yes. But boy, once you take the lid off those barrels, and it's like it's so rich. It's the flavor, the aroma is so vibrant. It just hits you.
I mean, it's just big. It's powerful, and that's why you just want that hint of it. Otherwise, it could be a lot of power going in there. Yeah. It does have a little bit. If you think about that, the old library, and you think about that too when you go into when you were there at Buffalo Trace, you're in the warehouses. It has that wonderful old wood, the whiskeys in the air, that old library note. In a beautiful way. You do get some of that on this too, don't you?
You do. And that was very what's the word? It was very striking to me. Admittedly, I haven't been to a lot of distilleries. Four Roses, Beam, Rabbit Hole. I'm sure I'm forgetting another, of course, the Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Yes.
You've been to a lot of distilleries. And one thing that struck me when I was there is that it doesn't matter what someone does or what a company does or entity does, they can't recreate that. Those houses have been there for, in many cases over 100 years, and they've gone through every weather calamity you can think, all the changes in environment, in some cases fire and so forth, and all those things really feed into what that juice is going to end up being. What's your thoughts on that? As you go around to some of the older, more historic distilleries that have the older houses where they age the barrels versus some of the newer ones and so forth, and what do you think about that? Like, do you notice the difference?
There is a difference, and of course, it all depends on the distillery. And even in Kentucky, we often say, even at the same distillery, Sean, what hill's it on? Where is it at? How's the wind? Mm-hmm. Direction going there. The one they always refer to, and I'm sure you saw it at Buffalo Trace, is Warehouse H, where a lot of the magic happens with some of the more rare bourbons they do. The wood and the notes that hit you at Warehouse H, but they're all very beautiful in their own distinct ways. And it can also depend the aromas you're just getting on the day. Has it been raining? Has it, different types of climates. And of course, the new experiments they're doing there at Buffalo Trace with the experimental distillery and warehouse aging they're doing as well. But again, this is truly one of the best, most unique bourbons. That's why it's so sought after. It's the original wheated bourbon, so you get some of those softer, more delicate notes. I think that's carried through in a tremendous way on this. The softness, the creaminess against the earth. This is just very well balanced, and something that, again, Cohiba, what you do is well balanced, but this one in particular, what you've aimed for, is very well balanced.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a trick. I mean, again, I knew it was going to be something that was heavier than last year's blend, but we were going for a certain expression, and I was just hoping people would appreciate it. So, it's good to have a chance to sort of unveil it live online with you.
Well, you too, my friend. And again, tell us down below as you all are watching what you're smoking, what you're drinking. Tweet us back some photos. If for some reason you're lighting up a Cohiba, a nice cigar with a whiskey, tweet us those photos. We always love seeing these. Sean, you'll be traveling a little more this year. Where can people find you?
I'll be in DC next week at the Little Puff, which is great to have that back online. It obviously took a hiatus during the pandemic, so the Little Puff, which is DC, the DC area's preeminent cigar event that's put on in conjunction with W. Curtis Draper Tobacconists, and everybody will be there as far as cigar personalities such as myself. So looking forward to that. And the week after that, I'll be in the Bay Area doing a cigar event at Ohlone Cigar Lounge in Fremont, California. And the week after that, I'll be in Vegas, which would be a lot of fun doing an event in conjunction with the Three Tres Tequila at 8 Cigar Lounge in Resorts World. Have you been there?
Ooh, I may have been. You're going to do it with tequila?
Three Tres Tequila. Yeah. Have you had that yet?
I don't think I've had that one. I bet that'll be nice. What are you going to be pairing with it?
Well, we're working out a sort of a flight. They have, of course, the Reposado, the Blanco, and the Añejo, and Mark Becker, 808 Beverages. He's out of Hawaii. Very, very, very good tequila. Obviously, one of the newer brands, and he has a really strong presence West Coast and in Vegas as well. So we're going to be doing that event in conjunction with that tequila brand at 8 Cigar Lounge in Resorts World. So if you're in Vegas and you're looking for just a terrific cigar lounge on the Strip, 8 is hard to beat.
Excellent. I'm going to put up again where to follow Sean, his adventures. You can find him in a lot of places, but Instagram, there he is, Sean Williams _ Cohiba. Gosh, so many great folks watching tonight. I know they're all going to want to get one of these boxes, one of these cigars. They'll be out this coming week, right?
Many shelves. Yep.
Many shelves. They're boxes of 10.
Boxes of 10. Good
boxes
point,
of 10, and only about 6,000 boxes.
Just over 6,000. So less than 70,000 cigars total, which that may sound like a lot, but for a brand like Cohiba, that's not a lot.
That's not too many. Yeah, that's so you got to find one of these. If there may not. Again, I would say if you're able to find maybe one of your friends, if you're watching this, someone has a Weller, the original one, try that too, and then we're going to keep on looking forward to more of your great creations, but with the Weller by Cohiba line, and also again Spectre coming, and next year, as you mentioned, a brand new one coming that's going to be your first full-time release since Royale, which we've loved the Royale.
Oh yeah, I smoke of our full-bodied expressions. I probably smoked that one the most.
Beautiful.
I just love that Jalapa Nicaraguan tobacco. And we did the show, and I don't remember. I think did we pair a Peerless with that? I believe.
I think we paired some Peerless rye with it. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. The rye, the delicious notes.
Yeah,
the bold, bigger proof with the Royale.
With the full body Royale, that was great. Yeah, but I smoked that one a lot as far as if I want something full body out of our line. That's it's the fullest cigar that we make, so kind of an easy one to go to if you want something.
It's big and beautiful. This one has some boldness, but again, I would say very well balanced, creamy, some nice sweetness, earth, and just really just a great. I could see this being before dinner, or I could see this being after dinner. I could see it going a lot of different ways. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm telling you, man. Now that I've had a chance to actually smoke this again with the Weller Bourbon. I'm probably going to save this experience, and it'll probably end up being after dinner, because this will certainly be something that's a little bit more celebratory than a daily driver, right? So I think after dinner, man, with obviously my choice would be Weller, in particular Weller 12 if you have it.
Yes.
But if not, then you certainly want to go with the bourbon. I'm drinking the full proof, which is 114 proof, and I like to go with. Just one little rock to go in and give it a little bit of chill, open it up a little bit, so that takes a little bit of the heat off. So if someone's drinking higher proof bourbon, I don't see it, being something that's going to be off-putting or doesn't match well. But certainly, again, the vast majority I've had of these cigars, I've had them, in particular when we're blending, it's more with coffee. So this is one of the few times I've had it with a bourbon. This is clearly the experience that you want with this cigar. So
no, I think it is. And again, as you're blending them, whether it's this cigar or other cigars, you often will go to coffee when you're just looking at how they taste, or
so it's one of those things. If you're at the blending table and you're working on a cigar, almost exclusively, if it's not water, it's going to be coffee. Just because it cleanses the palate.
Right.
You don't go heavy with cream and sugar. I'm not a black coffee guy, so I need a little bit of sugar at least. But that's sort of the beverage of choice for most people that I know of in blending a cigar, along with water. Certainly not soda, and you certainly don't blend a cigar with alcohol at the time, just because the nature of alcohol and the sort of effervescent expression that it puts on your tongue kind of mute your palate a little bit when you're blending a cigar. So again, one of the few times I've had it with a bourbon, with the Weller bourbon, and this is where you're going to want to go. And if you get these, you're only going to get, if you can get your hands on them, maybe a couple boxes at most. So you're not going to want to smoke this every day anyway. You want to save them. And I'm going to be interested to see how these age out. That's always my concern when you add an alcohol component to any part of the cigar. Just alcohol, it's evaporative, right? So I'm going to be interested to see, next year after, how this cigar changes as far as what happens with the binder and the prominence of the alcohol profile.
You think it, and what's your prediction as far as if you look at what it might be a couple years from now? You think it'll
honestly, Tom, I don't know, because I've been making cigars for 16 years. This is the very first time that I've ever done a cigar with any component of it aged in any type of spirit. So I'm going to take this ride with everybody else, just kind of see how it turns out. I don't know.
Now, there's a good chance if they like them enough, they may put one or two back. But if they like them enough, they may have one left. And they may not, but now,
also just a little bit of information. The cigars are going to come in tubos. Last year they were in crystal tubes. This year they'll be in aluminum tubes. So I'm not sure. I don't know that I would necessarily take them out of the tubes, but certainly if I'm going to age these cigars, I will open the tubes, take the cigars out of the cellophane, and then put them back in. You don't want two barriers on top of the cigar as you're aging it. You're going to want to let the cigar age and plume and let the oils come out a little bit. And they'll still do that in the tubes, but I don't know with the tube and the cellophane if they're going to age like you really want them to age long term.
You might, so if someone's laying these down for a little while, you might take it out of the cellophane, put it back in the tube.
Okay. Yes.
That's helpful. Good.
Mike's saying he has a 12 bottle of the 12-year saving.
Yeah, it looks like it. Let's see. Here's a bottle of Weller 12. He's saving for this release. Wow. So he is ready for this.
All right. Where's Mike located? Do you know him?
Tell us, Mike. And then Mike, we're glad to have you, and glad to have everybody watching. Mike, tell us where you're based. And hopefully we'll see Mike at one of these great events coming up, and so many good.
I can maybe point him in the right direction. Well, if he got some last year, he obviously knows where to get them. So
may still. We always need tips and hints, though. It always,
because I get that all the time.
Always helps. He is in. Is that Upper Co, Maryland?
I don't know where Upper Co is, but. Yeah, if he's in Maryland, he won't have a problem getting the cigars, and if he's in the DMV, certainly he won't have a problem getting them.
Excellent.
Upper Co, Maryland. I don't know if that's
Maryland.
That's a township.
It may be. Do tell us more, Mike. All of you all. Thank you for your comments and watching us tonight. Watching Sean and I. I'm sure we'll be having Sean back here very soon as Spectre is released. And Sean, I hope to. We enjoyed seeing you at Kentucky Derby at that event. Hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I really have to get back on track with actually. Did you go to the Derby this past year?
I did. It was great. We saw you the night before.
Yeah. And I actually flew out the morning of the Derby. I flew back. I was flying out somewhere that Monday or Tuesday, so I didn't stay for through the Derby. But 30 minutes from Baltimore. Yeah, so
30 minutes from Baltimore.
There'll be so Harry and
look,
and Mike were smoking.
Friends. He says, Mike, I smoked. That's great.
Yeah. All right.
They smoke and they watch these together. I like it. I hope they're both having a good smoke right now.
Yeah. So he won't have a problem in Baltimore getting him up there. So but so this next year, I want to actually go out to the Derby again and try to enjoy it this time. I mean, the last one was at the Derby. We were so busy, man, behind the other guys. It was so busy.
Yeah,
the number of cigars that are sold at the Derby, it's insane,
isn't it?
Yeah. So I want to be able to sneak out and actually take in the race. I've only been the number of times I've been to the Derby. I've only actually been able to take in the actual race one time. So my poor wife, I took her.
Otherwise, they've had
the wettest Derby on record. So her hat was all drenched. She was all soggy. So hopefully we get some good weather. I can take her and we can actually just enjoy mint julep and watch the race.
And actually, we'll make sure you do next time. I'll be there this next year. We'll make sure we get you away just in time to see it all unfold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean, always good seeing you, my friend. It's great to have you on tonight. Great to be the first to review this. I love this. I think again, last year's was beautiful. This year's is also just beautiful in a new way, and
they're different. But I appreciate it again, man. I'm not just saying it. I knew that that we had to do this because again, this is the first time I've had a chance to make a cigar in this fashion. So you are the foremost authority on bourbons and whiskeys in general. So I definitely want to experience this with you and kind of get your take on it, man. So I appreciate you having me on.
Well, likewise, brother. It's always a pleasure trying these with you. First, it means a lot, and thanks so much for joining us, and thanks to all of you joining us.
We both have taken off the bands now.
We're just about right there, and it's still delicious. It's still evolving. It's just it's a great smoke from beginning to end, just like a fine glass of Weller Full Proof or 12-year. Cheers, Sean. Thanks so much, my friend.
Cheers, man.
This has been fun. We'll see you all again soon. If for some reason you all joined us kind of midway through this, it'll be up permanently everywhere you're watching. Like it, share it, follow us where you're watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers, Sean. All right.